If there's one thing that's going to sink this Giants team, it's looking like it's going to be the bats.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on the show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting this show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, so check us out there if you have not already, and please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. And coming up on today's show, there are just too many automatic outs in the Giants lineup right now, and unfortunately that includes Willy Adames, their $182 million signing. And also, Hayden Birdsong pitched well enough to win. We're getting a good preview of this young pitching, but the offense is holding them back. And Kyle Harrison also made his first start of the year, and he pitched well enough to win, even though he didn't go 5. But offense just not supporting them. And then one guy who's kind of put the team on his back right now and all season is Robbie Ray, who has refound his Cy Young form. So all of that coming up on today's show. And should there be a change at the closer position, that we will discuss as well. But the first thing to get into is the offense, which is just struggling big time here as the Giants lose again today, despite giving up just 3 runs. They only score 1, and in their last 9 games, the Giants have averaged 2.2 runs per game, and yet they're 5-4 in those 9 games. So they're fortunate to be 5-4 over this 9-game period, despite averaging 2.22 runs per game. In their wins, they're averaging just 2.8 runs. In their losses, they're averaging 1.5. And so a little less than 3 runs per game in their wins, and in their losses, 1 or 2 runs. So that is frustrating. It's gone in their last 9, starting with 9 games ago. It was after their 9-run outburst against the A's. What do they have total? They have 4, 5, 8, 12, 15, 16. I think they have, 19 runs. So anyway, I was just going to see like how many. Yeah, they basically scored only 2 times as many runs in their last 9 as they did in the single one before that. So anyway, they've scored 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, 0, 3, 1, and 3 in those last 9. But runs allowed, 0, 2, 3, 2, 8, 0, 3, 2, 3. So only 1 time have they allowed more than 3 runs in their last 9 games. And they've lost 4 times. And so you could look at this 2 different ways. Like, it's kind of a miracle that they've won more than they've lost when they're scoring 2.22 runs per game over this stretch. But it's also like you wasted a lot of potential wins by not capitalizing on how well they've pitched during this stretch. And the main takeaway for me is that right now there's just too many automatic outs in the lineup, especially today. I get it. You can't just run people into the ground. You got to give guys days off. Like, for example, Elliot Ramos did not start today on Monday, and it was Luis Matos in his place. But Luis Matos is among the players who right now is just an automatic out, it feels like. And when that happens, it's like basically half your lineup is seeming like an automatic out, because especially Patrick Bailey. And look, I just recently talked about how despite his massive struggles at the plate, Patrick Bailey still has value because he's just one of the most elite defensive players in the game. And however, I decided to take a little bit of a closer look because I know he really slumped in basically like August on last year. So I looked from August 1st of 2024 through Sunday, like yesterday, the worst weighted runs created plus among all players with at least 250 plate appearances. So that's not a very high plate appearance threshold. So there's 214 players who have at least 250 plate appearances. So it's pretty much everyone who's had any kind of regular playing time since August 1st of last year. And the lowest weighted runs created plus, which is an all-encompassing offensive metric, 100 is league average. The lowest by a mile is Patrick Bailey at 30. He's been 70% below average offensively. The next closest player is at 49, 19 percentage points better than Patrick Bailey. And so that's just crazy. It's not even been close. And that's about 4 months of play, August, September, April, and May. And yeah, I mean, batting average, lowest batting average, Patrick Bailey, 169. Lowest on base percentage, Patrick Bailey, 222. Lowest slugging, Patrick Bailey, 238. And it's not surprising that he is last in all three of those categories because he's so far and away last in weighted runs created plus. And yet he's put up a win above replacement during that span, and it's 86 games for Bailey, 285 plate appearances. But, someone else who appears kind of prominently on this list is Lamont Wade Jr., who has a 74 weighted runs created plus over that span, and that's the 19th worst, again, out of 214 players. And so when you've got, it's not the hugest sample, August 1st to now, it's really not, but it's certainly not insignificant anymore. It's 4 months of baseball, and Wade and Bailey are just automatic outs right now, it feels like. And today, Lamont Wade went, it was just more of the same today. Not that that's going to change the numbers, but yeah, Bailey went 0 for 3 with a walk today. Raised his weighted, better than his season. Like 0 for 3 with a walk is better than his season numbers in terms of weighted runs created plus. And Wade went 0 for 3 with a walk, and that's about in line with his season numbers. Like that's a typical day essentially. And another guy though is Willy Adames, who they've given a $182 million contract to, and yet it's just been a significant struggle. He came up in some big situations today, and he grounded into a double play. He's flailing at sliders low and away. Like the swing is very long. He has a very long swing. And on the season now, he's hitting 205 with a 284 on base and a 333 slugging. It is just 54 games, just 236 plate appearances. But, Memorial Day is a day when it's typically like when teams can, like I've said, like 45, 50 games, it's around that point when we start to draw some conclusions and stuff becomes a little more real and quote unquote sticky. And the fact is, it has been a problem. Like Willy Adames has struggled so much that it is concerning at this point when you're talking about a 7-year, $182 million contract. And like, there's just no doubt it's been rough. And so that is, it's a problem because it shortens your lineup a lot. You were relying on this guy to be kind of a centerpiece of your offense. And instead he's been one of those automatic outs where there's just too many. So coming up in just a minute, we'll wrap up that discussion and then turn our attention to young pitching and the bullpen. Is it time for a change at the closer spot? Even though Ryan Walker was able to get out of a situation. It's just been a struggle for him, despite the Giants having the best bullpen ERA in the majors. So we'll get into that in just a minute. And before we do, today's episode of Locked On Giants is brought to you in part by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Now, with this special offer, if you bet $5 and that bet wins, you will get $200 in bonus bets. That's just an exhilarating way to enhance what is already an exhilarating experience watching the NBA playoffs. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's what I'm saying. It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, here we go. We are going to discuss Hayden, Birdsong, and Kyle Harrison. Each pitched well enough to win, I would say, and yet the Giants lost. Like, that's not surprising given all the numbers I just went through about 2.22 runs per game. They've allowed, I didn't actually calculate per game, but 0-2-3 8-0-3-2-3. I mean, my goodness, like you could have won all but maybe the 8-run game there easily. If you could just score 4, you would have won all but the 8, just 4 runs a game, which is way below average, and you would be 8-1 in this stretch. So I don't want to get too down on them because they're holding on to a playoff spot and they're doing well overall, but it's a concern. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Every dayers tomorrow. I'm going to get to more of these mailbag questions. We got to a few of them on Friday, and because this game is already played and the Giants, won't play again before the next podcast, we're going to get to the rest of your questions and addressing these offensive concerns and what the Giants can do. A lot of the questions focused on that. But just to wrap up that discussion, Luis Matos has been a struggle for him too, and he struggled again today. When he's played, he's not a regular, but it is 72 plate appearances with a 38 weighted runs created plus, hitting 147, 194 on base, 309 slugging. So when he was in there with Lamont Wade Jr. and Willie Adames and Patrick Bailey, it was like half of the lineup essentially is just you kind of feel like it's an automatic out, and that's not a good feeling. And they feel that way, I'm sure. Like, well, maybe not quite, but they know they're struggling, and the offense is just for sure sputtering. So the next point I want to make is just getting into the question of, should the Giants make a change at the closer position? Because the Giants bullpen has a 2.61 ERA that is number 1 in the major leagues. And when we look at their ERA leaders, currently on their pitching staff, their lowest or highest, I should say, ERA belongs to the guy who's closing out games in Ryan Walker. Now, there's just no doubt the underlying numbers are better for Walker, like a 5.21 ERA, but a 3.29 expected ERA, 2.87 fielding independent pitching. But there's also no doubt, like, those are solid peripheral numbers. However, you've got guys who have beyond solid peripheral numbers when you've got the best bullpen in the major leagues. I can look at 3 players, specifically Randy Rodriguez, who are just clearly having more dominant seasons. Now, do they want to just keep Rodriguez in the role that he's in? Maybe. But at the same time, Walker almost cost them another close game. It's just been a struggle for him in that 9th inning. And I'm Not saying I don't believe in him long term. We kind of had the same conversation last year with Camilo Doval. I said I believe in him long term, but you got to do something. And eventually he lost that closer's role. And I said I expect a bounce back season from Doval. And he's another guy who's just put up really good numbers this year. 1.16 ERA, 2.18 expected ERA, 2.53 fielding independent pitching. Hasn't allowed a home run, high ground ball rate. But Randy Rodriguez has a 0.79 ERA. I think he's allowed a run in just one outing out of his 22. And what was it? I think it was one run. It was a solo homer, I believe. May have been a 2-run homer, but, well, let's just see. He's allowed 2 runs on 1 homer. And I don't know if both runs came on the homer, but they came in 1 outing. 0.79 ERA on the season, 160 expected ERA, 136 fielding independent pitching. Like, there was an article that came out early in the season, and they were like analyzing Randy Rodriguez and said right then and there on Fangraphs that he looks like a top 5 reliever in baseball. And that was like early on, just analyzing the stuff quality and some of the numbers and all that. And he's very much backing that up with how he's continued to pitch. And so Randy Rodriguez looks like a guy more than capable of being the closer on a team. And yet he's kind of like 3rd or 4th on the depth chart, which, you know, when things shake out, I'm not sure that that'll be how it ends up. And Camilo Doval, we already said. And then Tyler Rogers, I don't think he should be closing games, given just you're going to get some weirdness at times. I'd rather have a dominant strikeout pitcher in that role, but Rogers has just been a rock, and I like him in the role he's in. But crazy good ground ball rate, 185 ERA, 224 expected ERA, 280 fielding independent pitching. Just really good, underrated player, Tyler Rogers. But I don't know. I mean, there's an argument to make that, yes, you make that change now instead of waiting for blown saves to happen, because like those are games that it could come down to like one game at the end of the season where you could miss the playoffs by a game. And then you're like, well, we let Ryan Walker pitch until he proved he couldn't do it. Like, we let him be the closer until he really proved that he wasn't the right guy for it at the time. Now, so there's an argument to make, like, get out ahead of it and just, you know, just flip-flop them. But then there's like egos and stuff to worry about, where Camilo Doval would be like, oh, I got passed up by, I'm not even assuming. I'm just saying it's possible. Doval could be like, what? Randy Rodriguez is going to get this even though I'm pitching well and I used to be the closer. So it's kind of a good problem to have. You've got so many guys throwing well, but Rodriguez has been a tier above even than Doval and Rogers, who have been like elite. Randy Rodriguez has been a tier above elite. Just, I mean, if there even is one. Elite, the elite of the elite. So anyway, Hayden Birdsong and Kyle Harrison, I just want to mention, both end up losing their starts, yet pitched well enough to win. And we're kind of analyzing that. It's not about pitched well enough to win. It's more about how did they pitch. And for Birdsong today, struck out 6, walked 2, gave up 5 hits in 4 1/3. And he's just not stretched out enough to maybe get through that inning. He also he gave up a hit and a walk in the 5th, and that was when they took him out, and it was a lefty coming up, and they brought in Eric Miller, who proceeded to, I think, walk the pinch hitter and then give up a single. So both of those runs scored. But so far in his 2 starts, it's been, I think, good performance from Hayden Birdsong. And the ERA today ends up being 6.23 because those 2 runs came in to score. But the fielding independent pitching today was 170. And so, you know, I thought that Hayden Birdsong threw the ball well. As always, it's just a question of command. If he's in the strike zone, he's tough to hit. And if he's falling behind and walking guys, then he runs into some jams. But he can get out of them because if he just throws strikes, he's tough to hit. And Kyle Harrison, he made his first start of the season, and the numbers, like the ERA for the start is 4.50, the fielding independent pitching for the start is 4.33, but that doesn't really tell the full story. Fielding independent pitching is influenced by did you allow a homer, and he did. Just one homer, and that was the only damage against him. It was a 2-run homer in the first inning by James Wood, and that was it. 4 strikeouts, though, in 4 innings and no walks. So this season, Kyle Harrison has 3 walks. One of them was intentional, and they all came in 1 outing. So he's been pounding the strike zone. He only allowed 5 hits in those 4 innings with no walks. And so that's a good outing. I mean, that's a solid outing. It was just really the home run ball that got him. But we're evaluating closely because he may only get 2 starts and then Justin Verlander returns. But I don't know. On the season now, Harrison has struck out 29% of batters, walked just 8%, and the ERA in a small sample of 9 1/3 innings is just 3.86, although the expected numbers are worse. 4.73 expected ERA, 4.48 fielding independent pitching, but there's some other numbers like kind of normalizing your home run rate and this Sierra Skill Interactive ERA, both in the low 3s for Harrison. And so I don't know. I continue to be intrigued. And the velocity, it wasn't quite like 97, 98, but it was more like 95. I don't have it pulled up exactly what he averaged in this start. I don't know if I'm actually able to do that or not. I think actually we can. Yeah, he averaged 94.7 in this start with his fastball. And that was down from any relief appearance, but still averaging that rounds up to 95. Pretty good. And that'll play. And so I want to see more of Harrison, and I want to see more of Birdsong. They aren't the problem right now. It's the fact that the Giants are just having trouble scoring runs. They scored a total of, I think, 1 run in those games that were started by those 2. And maybe it was 1 run. I can't remember. 1 run in each start, or 1 run today and then 0 in Harrison start. I can't remember. But very few runs. And that, my friends, is the problem right now with the Giants. So coming up in just a minute, one guy who just has put the team on his back all season long and returned to Cy Young form is Mr. Robbie Ray. We'll discuss in just a minute, and before we do, all right, here we go. We are going to get into the Robbie Ray Renaissance, which it seems like we're discussing every day or every 5th day, because we are. It's been unbelievable what Robbie Ray has been able to do, and it just bears repeating because it's news that the Giants legitimately have a renaissance on their hands with Robbie Ray. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen today. Everydayers, tomorrow we will be getting to your questions. Specifically, a lot of questions are about how to fix the offense and about Lamont Wade Jr. and first base, and we'll get to those tomorrow. So please come back. We're Monday through Friday all season long and in the off season, except for a little period where we're 3 days a week. So the Robbie Ray renaissance just continues. He lowered his ERA on the season to 2.56. His expected ERA is 2.99. The fielding independent pitching, 3.21. And so he's just been very good. And his first outing of the year, the numbers weren't all that great. And so if you take that one out, he's got a 2.33 ERA, a 2.86 fielding independent pitching. So I'm not saying you should just take any start out. The worst start he had was that one in Philadelphia. I remember that well. Walked 5, gave up 4 runs. But other than that, he's given up 3 runs twice and less than that every other time in 11 starts. So one time 4 runs, 2 times 3 runs. So that's 3 starts where he's allowed 4 or 3 runs, and the other 8, it's been 2 or less. 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1. Besides the 3s and the 4s. Yeah, so if we look at, I'm guessing, leaderboards, which I don't have pulled up, but a 2.56 ERA in 63 and a third innings. 60. So if we look at the leaders among pitchers with at least 60 innings, where does Robbie Ray rank? Well, he ranks, where is he? He ranks just ahead of Logan Webb, actually at 13th in baseball in ERA. Logan Webb is 14th. So you've got both Logan Webb and Robbie Ray pitching like aces. You know, this is 13th and 14th in baseball among 35 pitchers with at least 60 innings. So there's not that many guys who have thrown 60 innings. If we set it to 50 innings, then Robbie Ray ranks 18th and Logan Webb ranks 21st out of a much larger sample of 92 pitchers. But for Robbie Ray, I mean, the 2.99 fielding independent pitching, or actually expected ERA, is exactly the same as Logan Webb's, 2.99. And so that ranks their 13th and 14th, again, out of 92 pitchers with at least 50 innings pitched this season. And this is a guy the Giants got for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. We keep saying this every time. The Mariners are still paying Mitch Haniger, and he was just as bad last year as he was with the Giants in his first year. And then this year, the Mariners released him, and he has not signed on with anybody else. So it's not like I'm out here rooting against Mitch Haniger, but his career may be over. And meanwhile, Robbie Ray is pitching, like putting a contending team on his back here, and that was the main player given up in that deal. Anthony DeSclafani was also dealt in that trade, and he hasn't pitched since because he missed all of last season with an injury. I think he just recently signed a minor league deal with a team like the Yankees or something. But yeah, he's in the Yankees organization, but the last time he threw a major league pitch was with the Giants. So, and his last 2 seasons with the Giants, he had a 5.16 ERA. And Mitch Haniger, you know, I don't need to pull the numbers up. You maybe recall it was very ugly in his first season with the Giants. He had 209, 266 on base, 365 slugging, and bad defense as well, and injuries. And then he was more of the same, healthier, but big time struggles with the Mariners in year 1 last year. So in exchange, the Giants got Robbie Ray, who's now just kind of saving their rotation with a veteran arm that's throwing the ball well. Because otherwise, it's not like I don't believe in the young players like Landon Roop and Kyle Harrison and Hayden Birdsong and down the road Carson Wisenhunt and others, but having Logan Webb and Robbie Ray each pitching to the tune of a 2.99 expected ERA and, you know, better ERAs even than that, it's been huge. And the Giants have won all but one of those games started by Robbie Ray. They're 10-1 in games started by Robbie Ray, which it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out they're below 500 in games not started by Robbie Ray, because they're only 8 games over 500. And so they're 9 games over 500 in games started by Robbie Ray. So they've been about a 500 team, one under in games not started by Robbie Ray. That's a little bit kind of random and fluky and weird, and I wouldn't read too much into that. But at the same time, I mean, it's been win day, and he's gotten better and better. That four-seam fastball has just been a really good pitch for him and might have been his most impressive outing of the season to me, maybe. I mean, there's been lots of impressive ones. He went 6 innings, struck out 7 against the Nationals, and didn't walk anybody. It was actually the first time all season he didn't walk anybody, and gave up 1 earned run, 3 hits, just 3 hits. Man. In his last, 6 starts, he's gone 6 or 7 innings in each of those starts. So that goes all the way back to his start against Texas in late April, and a 1.62 ERA over that span with a 1.52 fielding independent pitching. So what a roll he's on, and they got him for, a couple of players with regrettable contracts, and that was the name of the game. Like the Mariners kind of felt like Robbie Ray was a regrettable contract. He was rehabbing from Tommy John, but the Giants, Farhan Zaidi, felt it was a better play to just wait it out with Robbie Ray than to hold on to underwater assets in Haniger and DeSclafani, and the Giants are reaping the benefits of that now, and we're saying that every time he goes out there because he's been doing it so consistently all season long. So anyway, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow, look out for that mailbag episode. We're going to be getting into how can the Giants fix this kind of broken offense right now. A lot of questions about that have come in. So anyway, for your second listen today, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter/X at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out so much. So thank you in advance, and thanks to everyone who's done so already. Can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening today. You are now Locked On Giants.